Hey everyone, this is Hamidul. You are watching Let's Learn Science. Today in this session we will talk about the various types of animal tissues. So far we have discussed about the various types of tissues that are found in the plant's body. So let's see what are animal tissues or what are the different types of animal tissues. When we breathe, we actually feel the movement of our chest. When you used to breathe, then you can feel the movement of the chest. How does the body parts move? Now question is that how body parts is used to move, or what is responsible for the movement of the different body parts. For this we have a specialized cell called muscle cells, and for the movement of the body different body parts, there are some special cells in our body, and that cells are called muscle cells. And we are able to move our body only because of contraction and relaxation of these cells. The contraction and relaxation of these cells result in movement. That is, due to the movement of the, due to the contraction and relaxation of these muscle cells, we are able to move different parts of our body. During breathing, we inhale oxygen, and during the breathing, what gas we used to intake? We used to intake the oxygen. That is, inhale means intake. So during breathing, which gas we used to take? We used to take oxygen. Where does this oxygen go? So when we used to breathe, we used to take the oxygen inside our body. So where does this oxygen is used to go? It is absorbed in the lungs and then transported to all the body cells through blood, right? So when you used to intake or inhale oxygen during the breathing, that oxygen is absorbed by the lungs, and then from the lungs it transported to all the body cells. There are so many cells in the body, and oxygen is transported to the various cells in the body with the help of blood. Why would cell need oxygen? Now question is that why would cell need the oxygen? That one you know, because cells need oxygen to respire, because in presence of oxygen respiration is used to takes place and release energy in our body. That's why the cells need oxygen. The function of mitochondria, that is the site of mitochondria is the site of respiration. Over there only what happen, that respiration takes place and release energy in presence of oxygen in our body. We studied earlier provide a clue to this question. Blood flows and carries various substances from one part of the body to the other, and blood is the carrier to carry the various substances from one body part to the other. For example, it carries oxygen and food to all cells, right? It is to carry the oxygen as well as food to the other part of the body, or to the different cells in the body. What does it is to carry? The blood is to carry oxygen as well as what? Food to all cells of our body, through each and every cells. You can say each and every cell to the body or of our body. It also collects waste from all parts of the body and carries them to liver and kidney for disposal. Beside that also, blood doesn't is used to carry the the oxygen and food to all the cells of the body. It also carries what the waste product that is to produce in the different parts of the body or in the different cells of our body. They used to carry those waste product to which organ? To the liver as well as kidney. For what purpose? To remove that one from our body, or for what can you say, for the disposal. Blood and muscles are both examples of tissue. So what we come to know, we are able to move our body only because of muscle cells. That is, due to the contraction and relaxation of muscle cells, we are able to move our body. And we also come to know that we used to take oxygen into our body. That oxygen is absorbed by the cells, that oxygen is absorbed by the lungs, and after that it transported to the various cells. Over there what respiration is to takes place in the mitochondria and release energy. Beside that also, it is to carry the food to the different cells of the body. And blood also is to carry the waste product that is produced in the different cells of our body for the disposal into the liver and kidney. So what we have got, that is blood and muscles. Blood and muscles are both examples of what? Tissues. These are what? Examples of what? Tissues found in our body. On the basis of the function they perform, we can think of different types of animal tissue. So what type of function they used to perform, on the basis of that we can divide the tissue into different types, such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So basically there are 4 types of tissues found in the animal body, that is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. Blood is a type of connective tissue, and so far what we have learned about blood. So blood is a what type of tissue? It is a type of connective tissue. And muscles from what? Muscular tissue, and muscles is an example of muscular tissue. Now let's see in detail about each and every type of animal tissue in detail. So what are the different types of animal tissue we have got? We have got what? Epithelial tissue, then muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. Now we have to study in detail about them, what type of function they used to perform in our body. The first type of animal tissue, that is the epithelial tissue. What tissue? Epithelial tissue. The covering or protective tissue in the animal body are epithelial tissue. The best example to come to know about epithelial tissue is that how can you visualize the epithelial tissue. When you used to stand up in front of looking glass, what can you see in your body? That is the example of what? Epithelial tissue. That is our skin is made up of what type of tissue? Epithelial tissue. Epithelial covers most organs and cavities within the body, and it is to cover most of the organs as well as cavities within the body. It also forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. Beside that also, it is to act as a or form a barrier, and that is to keep two different body systems separate from each other. The skin, the lining of the mouth, our skin, that is the best example of epithelial tissue. Then the lining of the mouth, that is mouth part, the outer covering of the mouth. Then the lining of blood vessels, lining of alveoli and kidney tubules are all made up of what kind of tissue? Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue cells are tightly packed, and they are what? Very tightly packed and form a continuous sheet. There are several layers, and they are very tightly packed, and they are formed by continuous layers, or you can say sheets. They have only a small amount of cementing material, and they have a little bit, or you can say very little amount of cementing material between them, and almost no intercellular spaces. What can you say? That in epithelial tissue they don't have the intercellular spaces. That means in between the cell there is no space of epithelial tissue. Obviously, anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of epithelium. Anything intercellular spaces, that is obviously anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of epithelium. As a result, the permeability of the cells, various epithelial play an important role in regulating an excess of material between the body and the external environment, and also between the different parts of the body. Now question is that, as it is given that there is no intercellular space, so question may arise in your mind that how then the different substances is used to exchange in between the environment and our body. That is because of permanently cells and various epithelia play an important role, and there are some epithelial cell tissue that is to play an important role in regulating the exchange, and that are responsible only for regulating the exchange of materials between the body and the external environment. And also that special type of epithelium also responsible to exchange the different substances between different parts of the body. In between different parts of the body also different substances is used to get exchanged. Regardless of the type, all epithelium is usually separated from the underlying tissue by an extracellular fibers. So there are several types of epithelial tissue. So regardless of their type, all epithelium is usually separated. That means each and every epithelium is usually separated from the underlying tissue. There are some other tissue also under the epithelial tissue. So from that underlying tissue, the epithelium tissue is used to get separated by an extracellular fibrous, and that is called extracellular fibrous basement membrane. What it is called? Basement membrane. That means with the help of the basement membrane, the epithelial tissue is used to get separate from the underlying tissue. Different epithelia show different structure that correlate with other unique function. So different type of epithelia is have the different type of structure on the basis of what kind of activity they used to perform in our body. For example, in cells lining blood vessels or lung alveoli, where transportation of substances occur through a selectively permeable surface, there is a simple flat kind of epithelium. So over there what happen? Where transportation of substances occur through a selectively permeable membrane, that means transportation is used to occur, but selectively all substance doesn't is to get exchange with the help of a selectively permeable surface. There is a what kind of epithelial tissue is found? A flat kind of epithelium is used to found, and that is called what simple squamous epithelium. So the flat type of epithelium is called the simple squamous epithelium. The simple squamous epithelium cells are extremely thin and flat. And what type of cell are this? These are what extremely thin. They are very thin and they have flat type of structure, and the lining of the mouth flat and form a delicate lining. The esophagus and the lining of the mouth are also covered with squamous epithelium. Beside that also, the esophagus and lining of mouth are also covered with the help of what kind of epithelium tissue? Squamous epithelium tissue. The skin, which is protect the body, our entire body, that is the largest organ of our body, is also made up of squamous epithelium tissue, and our skin is also made up of squamous epithelium tissue. Skin epithelium cells are arranged in many layers. There are several layers to prevent wear and tear, so that it should not wear and tear very easily, since they are arranged in a pattern of layers. The epithelium is called stratified squamous epithelium. So this epithelium is also called stratified squamous epithelium. Why it is called squamous epithelium? Stratified squamous epithelium, because when it is to observe under the microscope, there are some dark spot can be clearly visible under the microscope, and that's why it is called stratified squamous epithelium. When absorption and secretion occur as in the inner lining of the intestine, in the small intestine, when different secretion of intestinal juices is used to take place, forming pillar-like epithelium facilitates movement across the epithelium barrier. In the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelium tissue also has cilia. Besides that, also columnar is another type of epithelium tissue that possesses what cilia, which are hair-like projection, and cilia is hair-like projection on the outer surface of epithelium cells. These cilia can move, and these have the mobility capacity. They can move, and their movement pushes the mucus forward. As a result of that, when with the help of this cilia, the epithelium tissue is used to move, it pushes the mucus forward to clear it. This type of epithelium is thus ciliated columnar epithelium, as they possess cilia. That's why that type of epithelium tissue is called what ciliated columnar epithelium. Next type of epithelium tissue is cuboidal epithelium, that is with cube shape. What are the different types of epithelium tissue we are getting, that are divided on the basis of the structure as well as on the basis of the function they used to perform. From the lining of the kidney tubules and duct of salivary glands, where it provides acquire additional specialization as gland cells which can secrete substances at the epithelial surface. Sometimes a portion of the epithelial tissue folds inwards. What happens? Sometimes the portion of epithelium tissue falls inward. That means inside it is somewhat folded, and a multicellular gland is formed, and as a result of that over there a gland is formed, and this type of tissue is called glandular epithelium tissue. What type of tissue? Glandular epithelium tissue. And these are the different types of these are the different types of epithelium tissue, that is squamous epithelium tissue, cuboidal epithelium tissue, then clumar epithelium tissue or ciliated epithelium tissue, and lastly this one is cuboidal epithelium tissue. Next type of tissue over here in this lesson you have to read, that is the connective tissue. The connective tissue. As we come to know, blood is an example of connective tissue. Blood is a type of connective tissue. Why would it be called connective tissue? Now question is that why blood is called connective tissue? Why it is called connective tissue? A clue is provided in the introduction of this chapter, as we have got while reading about the introductory part of the animal tissue. Now let us look at this type of tissue in some more detail. The cells of connective tissue are loosely spaced. They have loosely spaced and embedded in an intercellular matrix, and they have some intercellular matrix. The matrix may be jelly-like fluid, and they are what type of fluid? Jelly-like fluid. Dense or rigid. It may be dense or rigid. The nature of matrix differ in concordance with the function of the particular connective tissue. And what will be the nature of the matrix? That will differ in coordinates with the function of the particular connective tissue. That means what type of function that particular type of connective tissue is used to perform, that will determine its nature as well as various features. Then blood has a fluid, that already we come to know, that is called fluid means liquid, and that is we call as matrix called plasma. That that fluid part of the, or you can simply define that the fluid part of the fluid part of the blood is called what? Plasma. What it is called? Plasma. What blood? Then it has also some other components, not only the plasma. Blood is a composition of so many substances, so many components. It contains plasma, in which red blood cells, that is RBCs, and white blood cells and platelets, right? In the plasma, white RBC, red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, or you can say red blood cells or white blood cells and platelets are suspended in which? In the liquid, or you can say in the fluid part of the blood, that is in the plasma. The plasma contains proteins. And what is the composition of plasma? What does the plasma contain? The plasma contains proteins, salts, hormones. Okay, these three are the components of plasma. Plasma contains proteins, salts and hormones. Blood flows and transport gases. It is to flow throughout the body, and it is to transport gases, then it is to transport digested food as well as hormones and waste material to different parts of the body. So like this, as well as along with this one, you have to read the function of each and every component of the blood. What is the function of the RBC? It is to carry the oxygen into our body, as it is contain what? Hemoglobin. In the hemoglobin, what is there? Iron is there, and that is responsible to carry the oxygen into our body. WBC, which is called soldier of our body, that is to fight against the disease and all that, against the germs and the foreign materials. Then platelets, that help in the clotting of blood. So like this, you have to read in detail about the various function of each and every component of the blood, because question may arise, question may ask to write the function of each and every type of what? Blood, each and every component of what? Blood. Next connective tissue is bone. Bone is another example of connective tissue. So, first example of connective tissue what we got, that is blood, and second type of connective tissue, that is the bone. It from the framework that support the body. Only because of bone, that is responsible to keep the that the entire skeleton system is made up of what, bone and cartilage, and only because of that skeleton system we got our definite body shape, size and structure. It from the framework and support our body, and only because of that only we are able to move, we are able to do different kind of activities to support our body, is not it. It also anchors the muscles, that means muscles are attached to the bones and support the main organs of the body. Besides that also it is to protect the different organs of our body. Our skull, that is also made up of different types of bones, and skull is protect the vital organ of our body, master organ of our body, that is it is to protect our brain. So, how much important it is, you can realize it. It is a strong and non-flexible tissue, and it is whatever which is very, it is very what strong and non-flexible. It cannot be flexible, it cannot be bent. That type of tissue, what would be the advantage of this properties or bone or function? Because of that, what we are able to get a rigid type of shape and size. The bone cells are embedded in a heart matrix, and they are embedded in a heart matrix that is composed of calcium and phosphorus compound. That is the composition of bone. Bone is mainly made up of calcium and phosphorus. Two bones can be connected to each other. What happens? There are so many joints in our body. Am I right? In the elbow there is joint. Yes or no? In the hips there is joint. In the skull part there is also joint. Neck and skull, neck and head, that joint. So over there also joint. So many joints are there. That means bone are connected to each other by another type of connective tissue, that is called ligaments. What it is? Ligament. So ligament is another type of connective tissue that is to join one bone to another, or bone to bone, bone to bone. This tissue is very elastic, and this ligament is somewhat very elastic. It has a considerable strength. That's why you are able to bend different parts of our joint, or different joint we can move our different joint in different direction, only because of what the elasticity of what ligaments. Ligaments contain very little matrix. There is very little amount of matrix. It contains very little amount of matrix. The next type of connective tissue is tendons, and which connect muscles to bones. Our muscles are attached to bones with the help of another type of connective tissue, that is tendons. Tendons are fibrous. It is fibrous tissue with great strength. It has so many strength but limited flexibility. It has also some extent flexibility, but that flexibility level is somewhat limited. Another type of connective tissue, that is cartilage, has widely spaced cells, and best example to know about cartilage, our nose. Our tip part of our nose is made up of cartilage. Our ears is made up of cartilage. The solid matrix is composed of proteins and sugar, and its cartilage are made up of what very important. Student, please mind it and try to get into the point. Protein. The composition of cartilage is proteins and sugar, and the composition of bone is calcium and phosphorus. Cartilage smoothens bone surfaces at joints and is also present in the nose, ear, trachea and larynx. Already I have told you what is, or what are the different organs in our body that are made up of cartilage. We can fold the cartilage of the ears, right, but we cannot bend the bones in our arms, Think how the two tissues are different. So often question is used to come differentiate between cartilage and bones. So then you have to differentiate that one. Bones are very hard and it is not flexible. On the other hand, cartilage are somewhat soft and it can be bent up to some extent, or you can say bones are very hard, cartilage are soft. Bones are not flexible, cartilage are flexible. So these are the difference between what cartilage and bones, or bones and cartilage. Next is irregular connective tissue is found between the skin and the muscle, and this is another irregular connective tissue which is found between the skin as well as muscle. Just in between skin and muscle, another type of connective tissue, that means skin are attached with the muscles with the help of this irregular connective tissue. What is the function of the irregular connective tissue? It is to connect the skin with the muscles around blood vessels and nerves. Beside that also they are found in around the blood vessel as well as nerves and in the bone marrow. Bone marrow, where the formation of blood takes place in our body, over there also irregular connective tissue is used to found. It fills the space inside the organs, and it is to fill the space inside the organs, support internal organs, and helps in repair of tissue. And beside that also it helps in the repairing of different types of tissue in our body. Where are fat stored in our body? Then where the fat in our body is stored? Fat stored in the adipose. There are another type of connective tissue found in our body. The name of that connective tissue is adipose tissue, and it is responsible to store the fats in the body below the skin and between the internal organs, and where it is present below the skin and into the between different internal organs. The cells of this tissue are filled with fat globules, and the cells of this tissue are filled with fat globules. Storage of fat also lets it act as an insulator, and as a result of storing of fats, it used to act as insulator. So like this way we have come to know about two types of animal tissue, that is epithelium tissue and connective tissue. Now let's see about, so these are the different types of the diagram in your book given. These are the different types of connective tissue. This is the adipocyte, then so many types of connective tissue. Their diagram representation of is given. Then irregular tissue, adipose tissue, then compact bone, hyaline cartilage, then types of blood cell. So these all are examples. All these diagrams are the examples of connective tissue. Now let's see the another two types of animal tissue, that is the muscular tissue. Already we come to know the muscular tissue is made up of muscle cells. Muscular tissue consists of elongated cells are called muscles fiber. This tissue is responsible for movement in our body, and only because of, keep in mind student, please concentrate it, only because of muscular tissue we are able to move our body. Muscles contain special proteins called contractile proteins. So muscle contain a special type of protein, and the name of that protein is contractile protein, which contract and relax to cause movement. Often question is used to come in the exam, which protein is responsible for the movement of muscles? Then what you have to write? Contractile proteins. What proteins? Contractile protein is responsible for the movement of the muscles, or for the, not for the movement, or what can you say, the specifically with more specific, with the help of contractile proteins muscle is used to contract and relaxed, or the cause of contraction and relaxation of the muscle is to takes place only because of which protein? Contractile protein. To bones and health in many body under the we can move some muscles by conscious, right? Suppose in the muscle that is tricep, bicep in our hand, we can move whenever we used to move. There are some muscle in our body, whenever we used to move, then we can move them. On the other hand, there are some muscle in our body that we cannot move according to our wish. So muscles present in our limbs, that is in the legs and hands, move when we want them to. As I told you, when you wish, then you can move the muscle of your hand and leg, and stop, and whenever you want to stop, then you can stop it. when we so decide, whenever we want to wish and whenever we can decide, we can move the muscles of hand and legs as per our decision. Such muscles are called voluntary muscles. So they are called what type of muscle? Voluntary muscles. That means that muscles are under our control. We can control them. These muscles are also called what? Skeletal muscle. Besides that also, there have another name that are called skeletal muscles. Why they are called skeletal muscle? Because these muscles are attached with the skeleton, attached with the bone, and they are mostly attached to the bones and help in the body movement, and their main function is to help in the movement of the body. Under microscope, these muscles show alternative light and dark bands. If we see this type of muscle under the microscope, then what can we observe? We can observe the light and dark bands or striations, and when strained appropriately, as a result they are called what? Striated muscles. So voluntary muscles got the name skeletal muscles also. Why they are called skeletal muscles? Because they are attached to the skeleton. They are also called striated muscles. Why they are called striated muscles? Because when you observe the muscle cells under what? Microscope, then we can observe light and dark bands under the microscope, like it is striation when strained appropriately. So that's why it is also called what? Striated muscles. Striated muscle. The cells of this tissue are long, and what are the features of these cells? That is, what type of muscles? What are the properties, or you can say characteristic or feature of skeletal muscles or voluntary muscle? They are long in size, cylindrical shape, and unbranched. They are what type of? Unbranched. They are not branched, and multinucleated. They have so many nucleuses. Nucleus, that is more than one nucleus. That's why they are called multinucleate, having many nuclei. Okay, that means more than one nuclei. So they are called multinucleated. These are the feature, very important. It is very important. The feature of involuntary muscle. They are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate. The movement of foot in the alimentary canal or the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels are involuntary movements. On the other hand, our heart, our lungs, our kidneys, so many internal organs are there. They are made up of what? Muscles. But that are not under our control. If you say your heart to stop beating, it will it stop? No, that is not under our control. So that type of muscles, if you say your digestive system, if you try your level best to control the digestive system, different muscles that are involved in the digestive system, can you control it? No. Can you move them according to your choice, according to your decision? No. So that type of muscles are not under our control, and this type of muscles are called what? Involuntary muscles, that are not under our consciousness, that are not under our control. We cannot really start them or stop them simply by wanting to do so. As I told you, smooth muscles, or they are called what? As I told you, they are called involuntary muscles. So they are also named by another type of muscle, that is called smooth muscles. They are also found in the iris of the eye. They are found in the iris. Iris is a part of human eye. So over there also these smooth muscles are found in ureterus and in the bronchi of the lungs. Then in ureterus also, as well as in the bronchi of the lungs also, this type of smooth muscles are found, or involuntary muscles are found. The cells are long with pointed ends, spindle shape. The cells are spindle shape, that is long with pointed ends. It is long, but at the one point it is pointed. It is pointed, that is sharpness is there at the end point, and uninucleated, and they have only one nucleus, having one nucleus. And the other hand, voluntary muscles have more than one nucleus. That's why voluntary muscles are called multinucleate. On the other hand, involuntary muscles are called uninucleated. That means they contain only one nucleus. How many nucleus? Only one nucleus. Having a single nucleus, they are also called unstriated muscles, because when these involuntary muscles are observed under the microscope. There is no light and dark bands can be observed in those muscles. That's why they are called unstriated muscles. The muscles of the heart show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life, and from the day when we is to born, from that day to till death, the heart is continuously working. And when the heart will stop its working, then what will happen? A person will die or a person will expire. So it is continuously working with a rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life. These involuntary muscles are called cardiac muscles, and the muscles of the heart have a special name that is called cardiac muscles. Heart's muscle cells are cylindrical, and the various features of the heart muscles are they are cylindrical in shape, then they are branched and uninucleated. As heart muscles are involuntary muscles, so they are also having one nucleus. That's why they are uninucleate. Compare the structure of different types of muscular tissue. Note their shape and number of nuclei and position nuclei with the cells. And these are the various types of muscular cells that are given. Type of muscle fibers: striated muscles, smooth muscles, then cardiac muscle. So these are the different types of muscles. These are the diagram of different types of muscle. A first one is First one is striated muscle, that is voluntary muscles, and B, this is so many nucleus are there, you can observe it, right? So this is what not so many nucleus, sorry, this one showing the nucleus, and B one is the smooth muscle, that is involuntary muscle, and third one, that is C, is the example diagram of showing what this diagram is showing of what the cardiac muscle, and this is the smooth muscle, and this one is the what this one is the voluntary muscles. Now let's see, last but not least, the last type of animal tissue that is found in the body of animal is nervous tissue. What tissue? Nervous tissue. Whenever anything is going on in any part of our body, how did we come to know? Suppose a mosquito is used to bite at different part in a particular parts or in a particular organ of of your body, without looking into the mosquito where it is biting, your hand automatically go over there to kill the mosquito. So how is it possible? Or how is it possible when it is very hot we used to wear the clothes that is to keep us cool, and when it is very cold we used to wear the clothes that is to give us warm. So how we used to adjust ourselves with the changing environment, or you can say how we used to respond to the stimuli. So that is only because of this important tissue that is found in our body, that is none other than the nervous tissue. That is none rather than what nervous tissue. All cells possess the ability to respond to stimuli, as I told you. Suppose on the, it's very hot, so on that day will you wear the sweater? Definitely no. So that hotness is a what? The hot condition, hot climatic condition, or hot weather, that is the stimuli. So according to that stimuli, what you will wear? You will wear that type of clothes that will give you the coolness. So that is the response. So in our day-to-day life, how we used to respond to the stimuli, that is only because of this nervous tissue. However, cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized. They are very highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very repeatedly, and they used to transmit the message very repeatedly from one place to another within the body. They have to transmit the message information from one part of the body to the other very repeatedly. The brain, spinal cord, and nerves are composed of nervous tissue, and the composition of the nervous tissue is the brain, that is the master organ of our body, and the spinal cord, the bundle of nerve, that is connected from the brain through the spinal cord, that is the bundle of nerve, that is the brain, spinal cord. The spinal cord is the bundle of nerve, in our backbone. Okay, the brain, spinal cord and nerves are all composed of what, nervous tissue. So they, all these organ, that is the brain, spinal cord and nerves, are composed of what, nervous tissue. The cells of this tissue are called nerve cells, and the nervous tissue are made up of what cell? Nerve cells. And they are also called, nerve cells have another name, they are also called neurons. Very important, you have to keep remember, nerve cells or neurons. So nervous tissue is made up of nerve cells or neurons, or you can also say the structural and functional unit of nervous tissue is what, neurons or nerve cells. Or if the question came, what is the structural and functional unit of, what is the structural, I am repeating the question, listen it very carefully, it's very important and often is used to ask in the exam. That's why I am telling you. The structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is neuron. A neuron consists of a cell body. And what are the different parts of a neuron? I will show you the diagram over here. A neuron consists of a cell body. It consists of a cell body with a nucleus, and in the cell body there is a nucleus and cytoplasm, from which long thin hair like parts arises, and from there on long hair like parts is used to arise. Usually each neuron has a single long part. Each and every neuron has a single long part called the axon, and that single long part is called axon, and many short branch parts called dendrites, and so many short parts is there, and that short parts of the neuron is called dendrites. An individual nerve cell may be up to a meter long. A single nerve cell may be up to how much meter long? 1 meter, 1 meter long. Many nerve fiber bound together by connective tissue to make up a nerve, and beside that also many nerve fibers bound together by connective tissue, with the help of connective tissue, and they make up a nerve. They make up a what? Nerve. Nerve impulses allow us, nerve impulses do what, allow us to move our muscles when we want to. And with the help of nerve impulses means, the different information that is to carry by the nerve cell, that is nerve impulses, allow us to move our muscles when we want to. And whenever we want to move muscle, we can move with the help of what, nerve impulse. Without the nerve impulse, it is quite impossible, to move the muscles of our body. The functional combination of nerve and muscles tissue is fundamental to most animals. The combination of nerve and muscle, that means we are able to, you may think that yes, we are able to move our body parts only because of contraction and relaxation of muscles. No, it is quite impossible only for the muscular tissue to move the different body parts with the help of the contraction and relaxation of the muscle cells. It is quite impossible. Over there, what, the nerve cells, that is the nervous tissue, coordination of nervous tissue are also there, because the nervous tissue is used to convey, or the nerve cell is used to convey the message to our brain to which parts of the body we have to move, and according to that direction given by the human brain, we used to move the different parts of our body. So the message transmitted from the brain to the different, to the different parts of the body, and according to the need we used to move. We didn't used to move the body parts uselessly. So the combination, that is the coordination, there is a coordination between the muscular tissue and nervous tissue, and help the animals including humans to move the different parts in order to carry out different function in our day-to-day life. This combination enables animal to move repeatedly in response to stimuli, and only with the help of the combination of muscular tissue and nervous tissue we are able to what, move repeatedly. We are able to move repeatedly in response to stimuli. With the response, to give the different responses to different types of stimuli, we are able to move with the coordination of muscular tissue and the nervous tissue. So this is a diagram of what, nerve cell given here in your book. So there are different parts of it. This is the nucleus, then what you know, this is the nucleus, then the small the short hair like structure that are called dendrites, and the long parts of the neuron that is called axon, and these are the nerve ending, and this is the inner part, that is inner content of that one is called what cell body. So like this what happen, the nerves is used to, or nerve cell is used to carry out different function in the body. So these are the 4 types of animal tissue that is found in the body of the animal, that is the muscular tissue, connective tissue, then muscular tissue, connective tissue, then what we have read, the nervous tissue, and what, the epithelium tissue. So these are the basic, or these are the main types, or these are the 4 types of animal tissue found in the animal body: epithelium tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue, and what nervous tissue. So student, this is all about today's session. So if you have any doubts and confusion, then please comment me in my comment section, and don't forget to thumbs up if you like the video, and please subscribe the channel and share it. Thank you.